What's good, guys? This is a short one, I guess. If you're new to the channel, you know little. You hit that red subscribe button and you hit the top notification bell for uploads and live streams here on the Chaos Reign channel. Also, other links to follow me on Twitter at Chaos Reign 7. Add me on Facebook, Eric Rain on Facebook, and join Discord servers of the Chaos Reign channel. The link's on the About section. So let's go into this. As you know, I have proposed this question for the last few months. And this question is nothing really new, but it's something that has to be asked. As you know, there's this thing floating around that majority of black males in general, are roughly almost approaching 55% and have no children. And through the logic here, and they'll probably go use information from other sites that y'all guys can Google up. I can't name some off the back of head, but there are some sites that depicts the 50% in childless through, their own interpretations. But nonetheless, it seems to me that said that only 20% of black males are having children out of the 80% as a whole amongst us black folks in the black community. Now, mind you, I question that for some time now. I didn't really give it too much pushback because at the time when it was posted that most men that don't have kids that think that's a flex, but I think it's a shameful thing to not flex on that. If you're not producers, you are stagnant and you will eventually cease to exist and your genetics will go away if you don't participate in the procreation game. So if only a small portion of black males is having these kids, then really truly, is that really factual? Because the question that was asked, at what age does a black man for first time have his first child with said women? Mostly black women, but there are children that's been birthed out by black men from non-black women, but that's another story. So no one can really give an answer because they think that there is no ratio or medium to when a black man really decides to have kids or have children, one, for the first time. Now, y'all know my number into this is, I would say, roughly at as early as 32 and no greater than 35 for a black man to have a child first time. And this is what to me is the average that I've concluded at all across the board that black men's gonna start maturing. And as you know, once we get into our 30s, we start thinking about that, having kids, maybe settle down. But like I said, I did not pose this question, but I did post this question not only on my channel but another channel on this. So what we're gonna do, I went to talk to another black man, the G with a Ph.D., and he gives more breakdown than this. And it's something that I had to ask, and he did a well stream on not only the subject but other things during his live stream. So this is what I will do. I'm going to share that with y'all, and I want y'all to leave y'all thoughts at the end of this video in the comment section. And like I said, in my opinion, and this is just me, that is usually a man that's in his 30s, mostly no later than mid-30s, he start having children first time. And as you know, as he gets older, he starts to have the numbers start to greatly increase when you see him have more than one child. And one child, I mean loosely. So no further ado, we gonna roll that tape. You know what I'm saying?
What's good,
up, man?
green girl? Kimmy, do I have
Yeah, I
feedback?
hear you.
Yeah, man. Besides today's topic, one thing I want to go back from yesterday when you did the data about these other groups of men that have more children than the women, and I find it odd that don't a lot of men find it a problematic if that information was factual, not that we as men, regardless of doing what we're supposed to do, we're not having kids like that, but other groups are building numbers.
Well, my only issue is this, man. Like, black men are having kids. For the most part, over 50% of black men are having kids. The idea that it's only 20% of men out here having kids, like the 2080 Vilfredo Pareto bullshit, it needs to stop. I'm tired of hearing that claim being made in this space or in these YouTube streets because it ain't real.
Okay. And I asked this question, I never got the answer. Maybe you might not be the answer, but I said, what is the average age for a black male first time having a kid? And no one ever gave me an answer to that.
I think it's somewhere around between. I know it's between 20 and 35.
So if we had to conclude, roughly as you touch roughly 35, you are projected at least have a kid first time on the average. Now, not every man, they'll pass that and won't have kids, but really that's the benchmark, that's the meat. And I was
let me let's do this. Okay. Let's look at the percentage of black male fathers.
Okay.
And then go to the let me see. Let me do this. It's better for me to do this than to sit here and speculate and to to sit here and try to guess. Because we can look at the shit. We can look at it.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, because I don't want to guess either. Because I dig it up. I couldn't really figure it out myself, and I should, but maybe someone else would understand numbers a little better to say what to really look at properly.
Okay, so hold on. Let me give some shouts out. Queen said, Miss Sunkist say, I forgot to ask when you gonna make some more music. I'm making more music all the time. I just haven't published any of it on YouTube. So I done made like about 25, 30 songs, and I haven't put them up on YouTube. I just haven't. Because, every now and then I got other shit to do. So, but I have created a lot of and different kinds of it too. I just don't do trap music or R&B. I do electronic music, lo-fi music. I do all kind of stuff. So, my interests are varied. So I'm just trying to give shout outs to all people. Okay, so he did. I want to shout out Ghetto Houser as well. I mean, Ghetto User as well.
I forgot about that. I could probably cash app you something with a message of a certain, like, not a song, but like a theme beat that I could probably use. I'm trying to find an intro for this channel. I'm doing that. I don't like using YouTube. After all, it's cool, but I want black men to create something like authentic. I'm gonna have to
I'll work as best I can. So just email me first.
Yeah, email.
I'll work on it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So
for a reasonable price.
So yeah, let me present. Hold on, let me share the screen. Chrome tab. Fertility and Fatherhood 2014. Okay. So this is a census report from
8 years
United States Census Bureau, okay? But somebody else drew a paper up, just presenting the data. So let me enlarge this a bit so it can be more legible and perceptible, okay? So all in all, roughly 6 in 10 men are fathers. So that like roughly 60% of men are fathers. That's over half the population in the United States. Mm-hmm. Not 20%, 60%.
Okay.
Okay. Now, there's a chart here, and I looked at the chart that I looked over yesterday. Okay. It says, so the darker purple bar, for the bar graph means young. The lighter is older. Okay. So the darkest is 15 through 29. Less dark, 20 through 29. Less darker still, 30 through 39. But the lightest of all is 40 through 49 years of age. So those are the demographics correspondingly related to age. Okay. So between 15 and 19, 1.2% of white men are fathers. Okay? Mm-hmm. When it comes to black boys, 3.1%, so that's nearly double, a little over double that of the white population. Damn near 3 times more than the Asian population. And, a little over, more than half of that of the Hispanic population between the ages of 15 and 19. But that's no surprise to me because black boys have the earliest sexual debut. of all other demographics. So
Yes.
that's no surprise to me.
But they don't talk about this, that these boys are getting sexualized before they even hit puberty. That's an online quiet secret.
You know, it is what it is. So to me, it's no small secret. Okay, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a mystery. If you get early sexual debut, then you're gonna have fucking kids, because sex leads to reproduction. Through heterosexual sex leads to reproduction. Teleologically, that's what happens when you stick your phallus inside of a vagina. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, when the numbers begin to reach parity, when you get from ages 20 through 29, okay? So at that age range, 20% of white boys are fathers, 20% of black boys or black men, white men between the ages of 20 and 29 are fathers. Black men between the ages of 20 and 29 are fathers at 24%, right? Okay, and then by the time you get to 30 and 39, well, you know, you got 52% of Asians. You know, in the age range, well, they 12% at the ages of 20 through 29. Let me just go through that first. And then white Hispanic dudes from 29%. So they beating us by the time you get to the 20 through 29 age range. But then you start to see parity roughly when you get to the ages of 30 through 39. Okay? Yeah. So white men, 63% of white men from the ages of 30 through 39 are fathers. Okay? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 62% of black men by the ages 30 through 39 are fathers. Okay? And when it comes to Hispanics, 72% of them are fathers by that age range. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, as it pertains to 40 through 49, 75% of white men are fathers, 80% of black men are fathers, 80% of Asian men are fathers, and 83.4% are fathers. Okay, so that's just giving you the general framework. But they break it down when they begin to write, and they say, okay, the demographics of fatherhood. Fathers and childless men differ somewhat in their demographic makeup, primarily in their marital status and educational attainment. So that's the truth. Men who are educated less have more kids. Table 3 shows marital status, race, and educational attainment levels for all men, fathers and childless men. Most fathers, over 90%, are either married at the time of the survey or previously have been married. Mm-hmm. About 73% of fathers are married. 12.9% of fathers are divorced. 3.2% are widowed, and 2.3% are separated. Of the 72 million fathers, 5.9 million have never been married. In contrast, a majority of childless men, over 70%, have never been married. About 21% of childless men are married, 5.3% are divorced, 1.1% are widowed, and 0.9% are separated. Educational differences between fathers and childless men can be seen most prominently at the lowest and highest levels of education. About 14% of fathers do not have a high school diploma, compared to 21.70% of childless men. About 12% of fathers hold a graduate or professional degree, compared to 7.6% of childless men. So most men who have professional degrees got kids. That fathers as a group are more educated than childless men is partially a product of age. Many young adult men, so I think I got that wrong. So I think I said something wrong. Fathers as a group are more educated than childless men is partially a product of age. Many adult young men, such as adolescents still in high school, will likely eventually both reach a higher level of education than they have at the time of the survey, and will also eventually transition into fatherhood. Some differences by race and origin surface when looking at the age at which men become fathers. So some differences by race and origin surface when looking at the looking at the age which men become fathers. For example, about 1% of white, Asian, and Hispanic men aged 15 to 19 are fathers, compared with about 3% of black men, blah, blah, blah. Now, we've been over that, so we looked at that. Although the majority of men are or will be fathers, the experience of fatherhood is not uniform. Age and entry into fatherhood, total fertility, and number of childbearing partners differentiate men's fatherhood trajectories. And men's fertility trajectories have implications for their own and their children's well-being. Only 8.2% of all fathers became fathers during adolescence, meaning before they turned 20. So less than 10%. 31% of fathers were 20 to 24 years old when their first child was born. And an additional 30% were 25 to 29 years old. About 20% of fathers were 30 to 34 years old. 7.8% were 35 to 39 years old. And 3.3% of fathers were at least 40 years old when their first child was born. So, just looking at the data, so 31% of fathers were between 20 and 24, okay? 30.3% were 25 to 29 years old. So that seems to be the biggest group right there when people have kids. Between, right, the ages of 25 to 29. That seems to be for men in general to be their most fertile years. Does that begin to answer your question?
Yes, it does. Yeah, that answers the question. Thank you for the breakdown. I would ask another question, but I'm short on time.
Yeah, I got a question.
Let's Shots 112. Yeah, let's Shots. Yeah. I'm sorry that I took so much time answering it.
No. It's fair. I like how you break it down, because a lot of people think that when people are long-winded is a problem. No, it's not. As long as you're defined and given the definition of the point of the question, is better, that I get more clear understanding, because I've done content on this, Green Gorilla, and I never did the meaning of it. But throughout your explanation now, it gives more perspective of the numbers. So like I said, if we as men, we're going to look at these numbers, we got to look at it and really analyze it critically. And fake say that, saying the 20% of men having all the kids, it don't make sense. It doesn't add up. That this is nonsense. So, well, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, my only thing is, come on, man. Like how can you take an idea that was developed by an economist to explain wealth and income distribution in his own society at that time, Italy, right? Yeah. How can you extrapolate from that concept and apply it to other areas and correlate it to other areas of inquiry and not even look at the data for real? You don't have to use the 80-20 rule. You can look at the data.
But I think why most people come to conclusions like that, Green Gorilla, is from what I look at, because they got that from institutions the Europeans run. So they teach this, depending what degree you get, or you have to learn this. They're going to think this applies to everything, and that doesn't make no sense.
Well, like I said yesterday, man, Vilfredo Pareto was an Italian economist. And for the most part, I learned about Pareto optimality during, a graduate course in which I was studying game theory. Now, Pareto optimality is not important here, but at the end of the day, we never even explored the 20-80 rule in graduate school in relation to Pareto, because it's not a law.
It's not the law.
It's not a principle. It's not a falsifiable principle. Scientific principle of observation. It's not.
You're right.
And I have doubts about economists developing laws to begin with, because I think that, at the end of the day, economics is a social science, and I'm not saying that you can't develop any principles in order to investigate a study inquiry or make generalizations in social scientific research. But what I am saying is human beings are not like inanimate objects. You're not going to get like the laws of physics from studying human beings, whether you discover their behavior in economics or elsewhere. And then you gotta you gotta make a lot of assumptions about human nature before you can begin to postulate about what human beings are going to do economically, politically, or otherwise. And I think that, modern economists, I think that they're absolutely wrong in how they construe human nature and human behavior. That's just my opinion. Now,
Okay.
it just is what it is. But
okay, thank you.
What happened to Shocks, man?